there's just so much.
You're listening to a Mamamia podcast.
Mamamia acknowledges the traditional owners of land and waters this podcast was recorded on. Hi, True Crime Conversations listeners. Today, I want to share a powerful episode from Mamamia's news podcast, The Quickie, with you. It's hosted by Claire Murphy. It was released last month to mark the 1-year anniversary of the tragic death of 21-year-old Lilie James. She was a water polo coach who was murdered at her workplace by her ex-boyfriend just days after their breakup. And in this episode, Claire takes us through who Lilie was, her relationship with Paul, and the devastating events of the night she was killed. Cases like this are so important for us to revisit to ensure that the stories of victims like Lilie aren't forgotten. Tragically, Lilie is one of 58 women who lost their lives to domestic violence in 2023. If you or someone you know needs support, please reach out to 1-800-RESPECT on 1-800-737-732 for expert help. Let us know what you think of the episode, and I'll be back next week with another true crime conversation.
Just a heads up, today's episode of The Quickie discusses domestic violence and does describe some traumatic violence situations, so please take care when listening. Hi, I'm Claire Murphy. This is Mamamia's twice-daily news podcast, The Quickie. On Sunday night, Tara Brown sat down with the parents of Lilie James, the young woman who was brutally murdered by her ex-boyfriend just days after they'd called an end to their brief casual relationship.
And then, said it was her. And I had to come home, tell Peter and Max, play those moments every day. Every day.
Her death shocked the country and made international headlines with the amount of pre-planning undertaken and the seemingly unbridled rage her murderer experienced. Today, we remember Lilie James a year on from her death and find out if we've learned anything from her life or if we've even started to get a handle on the level of domestic violence here in Australia. In October last year, 21-year-old Sydney woman Lilie James woke up on a normal Wednesday. She got up, got dressed, and went down to the kitchen in her family home, which she shared with her mum Peter, dad Jamie, and brother Max. She was heading off to face another day filled with friends, study and part-time jobs, the young woman cramming as much as she could into every day, determined to make something of her life. Her parents saying she managed to balance it all, fueled by chocolate and ice cream.
I'm looking at the clock because the train's going to come shortly. She's off in her own little world. But she didn't seem agitated. She didn't seem frightened. Nothing. It was just a normal Wednesday.
That's Lilie's parents, Peter and Jamie, speaking to Channel 9's 60 Minutes program. She'd been working as a swim and dance teacher as well as coaching netball. But in 2022, she managed to snag a part-time position at the prestigious St Andrew's Cathedral School in Sydney as a water polo coach. It was there she met Paul Tyson. He'd moved from the Netherlands to Australia, where he was a student at the school himself between 2015 and 2017. He went back to the Netherlands to study and then took on a role as a cricket and hockey coach back at St Andrews in Sydney in 2020. He was in the process of studying a master's in teaching, hoping to become a full-time PE teacher. In around September 2023, Lilie and Paul started a romantic relationship. It wasn't anything too serious. The pair reportedly having a conversation about the fact that them working together might become an issue should they ever break up, and so chose to keep the relationship casual.
I had a conversation with her and I said, so you're going out? And she said, yeah. She said, and I said, so is it anything that you think will be something serious? And she said, Mum, she goes, we both sat down at the start of the relationship and decided that neither of us wanted anything serious. We just wanted some fun. And once it had run its course, we would go our separate ways. There was never meant to be any hard feelings.
Lilie's friends explained that they met Paul when Lilie brought him to a night at one of their houses, telling reporter Tara Brown that nothing he did or said on the night raised any red flags.
He was just a very, chatty guy. She always liked people who talked a lot, because she talks a lot. Just very nice. He was always very helpful. They'd work together and they'd help each other out.
About 2 weeks after that catch-up with friends, Lilie and James broke it off. Lilie telling her mates that it was a very mutual decision. Then, on October 25, 2023, the day Lilie woke up and joined her family for breakfast just like any other Wednesday, Paul Tyson rented a car. He then travelled to a nearby hardware store and bought a hammer before driving that same car to the St Andrews campus. Later that night, at approximately 7 p.m, CCTV cameras capture Lilie entering the toilet inside the school gymnasium, where she would get changed after water polo practice. A few moments later, Tyson can be seen also entering the toilet. An hour later, those same cameras catch Tyson leaving the toilet, but Lilie did not walk out behind him. A text message was sent from Lilie's phone to her father's at 8:30 p.m, an hour and a half after Lilie had entered the toilet block. It read,
"Don't ask why or call. Please come to the school now and pick me up."
Jamie wrote back immediately asking if she was okay. The message back was short.
"All good. Just come. Trouble."
But when Jamie arrived at St Andrews, he found other staff members, but not his daughter. He searched for her at her desk. He found her bag still sitting there. He searched the gymnasium, but didn't go into the toilets, not knowing that his daughter's body was lying just a few metres from where he stood. In a panic, Peter James, Lilie's mum, texted Lilie's friends asking if they'd seen her. They all responded with no. She even texted Paul Tyson thinking maybe one of her colleagues would know. Those texts went unanswered. At 11 p.m, police received an anonymous call telling them where to find Lilie. Jamie says he knew that when police and ambulance arrived at the school and he was taken to the station, that the news wasn't going to be good.
The actual scene itself was quite confronting for the police who turned up. Very sad time for everybody, not only the families, the students also, who were turning up today to be confronted by this.
That's Superintendent Martin Fileman from New South Wales Police. When asked whether they think Lilie sent those texts to her dad, her parents say no. Her time of death was suspected to be more than an hour before they were sent. But they have a theory as to why they were sent. And it points to a disturbing story of a man who wanted to harm a family as much as possible.
I think, for me, I really think that he was hoping that Jamie would find her.
In an address to students on the Monday that the school reopened, St Andrews Head of School Dr Julie McGonigal told those gathered that they were left with grief, shock and utter confusion because they knew both parties. Our beautiful Miss James, she said, and Mr Tyson, whose actions were completely incongruent with who they knew. After tracing the anonymous 000 call, police would establish a second crime scene on October 26th, 11 kilometres from where Lilie was killed. Investigators cordoned off an area of Diamond Bay where they located a backpack belonging to Tyson. Inside was the hammer that he'd bought on the morning of October 25th. Police would also find more CCTV footage from that night, showing a car pulling up on the street and then a man walking along the footpath. The man would be identified as Paul Tyson by the owner of the cameras. How would they know him? Because he'd walked outside the home of Lilie's friend, the one who'd welcomed Paul in as Lilie's then boyfriend just weeks earlier. He then sat in that rented car, where he then called police. His body would be found 2 days after Lilie's murder by tradies who spotted a body in the surf off of the notorious suicide spot The Gap, where they'd been working on a nearby construction site. Lilie's murder came at a time when the country was reeling from a string of domestic violence-related deaths. She was the fourth woman in 10 days to be killed, allegedly by the men known to them, and the 43rd woman at that point of the year to have been killed in a domestic violence-related situation. So a year after her death, as her parents speak out for the first time on how they're coping with the senseless loss of their daughter, has anything changed? Well, according to the Australian Femicide Map, 70 women have been lost to violence at this stage in 2024. For Lilie's family, 12 months may have passed, but their pain is as raw as it was on that very normal Wednesday.
Do you think the anger will ever go away?
No, I don't think so. I think I'll learn to put it to more good use, but it will never go away. I don't believe it should go away.
And I think if you knew what he did that night, I think you'd understand why we can't forgive what he did. It's pretty brutal, so Does that make me a bad person? I don't know, but at this stage, I don't care.
Thanks for taking the time to feed your mind with us today. If you're in a situation experiencing domestic or family violence and you need help, there are services standing by right now, like 1-800-RESPECT, who you can reach on the phone at 1-800-737-732. You can also text them 0458 737 732 or chat via their website 1800respect.org.au. The Quickie is produced by me, Claire Murphy, and our executive producer, Taylah Strano, with audio production by Jacob Round.